Everybody, I'm Franklyn. So first and foremost, there has been no justice for Breonna Taylor, murdered in her sleep. I demand justice for Breonna Taylor. There has been no justice for Jacob Blake, shot 7 times in his back 4 days ago in the same car as his children in the same town where yesterday a white boy gunned down and murdered protesters, only to walk away through the police who witnessed him do it and be taken into custody the next day unharmed in the same country where 12-year-old Samir Rice was murdered for playing with a toy gun. I demand justice for Jacob Blake and Tamir Rice. There has been no justice for Elijah McClain, a boy who played violin for homeless cats and showered his murderers with kindness as they murdered him. I demand justice for Elijah McClain. These people, like me, are guilty of being black and brown, and I demand justice and radical change for my people. I will not rest until my people have been liberated. In folklore, there exist entities who've devoted eons to meditating on the elimination of suffering. I'd like to start by having us focus our collective intentions on the elimination of suffering for all sentient beings. Meanwhile, I'll recite a poem I wrote. The next time I repeat the words "the end" will signify the end of this bout of mindfulness. Ebb and flow, breathe, let go. It's so simple, down with evil. Stance is hymnal, I'm the symbol. I'm a rebel on the level. Please be careful in my temple. Flow so gentle, elemental. Fire, fuego, viento, jungle, regal, peaceful cathedral, tetrahedral eagle, octahedral pineal. I'm not fearful, we're all equal. Guest line in the sequel came back for the people. Ultraviolet purple, everything is circles. Time it moves in circles. Circle rhymes with circle. Circles, circle, circles. High intensity intervals, casual miracles. I humble fearless criminals. Need us touch it ripples. Gold is best in triples. My words are the gospel, prophet but still hostile. My soul will never throttle. My art is always martial. The end. Thank you all for contributing to the elimination of suffering. A bit about me. I'm a first-gen multiracial American. I grew up traveling the world. This is one of the blessings I'm most grateful for. I studied mechanical engineering in undergrad. Today, I work at PAX Labs. I've participated in our diversity and inclusion group since its founding. I studied mechanical engineering. And I'll be joining UC Berkeley's first ever MDes cohort. I'm a fellow of the Marcus Foster Educational Institute, where I'll be researching and hopefully championing opportunities for education reform. I love to create and think. I love to make levitating temples. Fun fact, electromagnetic fields totally influence plant growth, even when they're seedlings. It's science. I love to make groovy paintings that appear to change color. In undergrad, some friends and I made a sensory sandbox toy for blind children. Some MDes students and I participated in a hackathon, and our main output was a low-cost augmented reality face shield for COVID testers. And I love to dance. So today for you all, I have some words around empathy. Not everyone experiences the same degree of freedom, nor the same breadth or depth of rights. Replacing the ideas we've come to accept around the interplay of power and the granting of human rights by the figureheads of capitalism cannot be done without empathy, profitability, and the unilateral elevation of living conditions for sentient beings will largely be ushered in by designs, and eventually the two will be competing efforts. The people have the power, and to that end, there is nothing holding us back but ourselves. In the reality we found ourselves in, most people's experiences are largely defined by, enabled by, bound and allowed to be by the designs that exist around them at varying degrees of proximity. This is incredibly profound. People are being born into lives where they are surrounded by, and their fate in many ways determined by, their relationship with and access to other people's projections of what should exist in our collective reality. It's incredibly important to understand that there's a massive responsibility that comes with being a human who makes things for others to experience. This is not meant to be a burden. Today, we wage war over oil. Soon, other commodities like drinkable water, access to which has been abused for profit, will emerge as points of conflict if climate change is left unchecked. If one considered that people of color are disproportionately affected by the ramifications of climate change, sustainable design would become intuitive if one was empathetic. I think that being alive is a sacred time. We, for an incomprehensibly brief moment in the context of space time, experience life and have self awareness around our own existence and think and act and do. It's beautiful to me. Similarly, I think creating is a divine practice, the act of the gods, perhaps the essence of our ever expanding universe. At its core is to create. Hardware and design rules like mine are mostly occupied by cisgendered, heterosexual white men. There is absolutely nothing wrong with identifying as such because we do not get to choose what we are born as. The problem is twofold. One, exclusive designs are acceptable. I can think of many times that, for example, facial recognition technologies did not recognize me. Two, it's in vogue right now to talk about diversity and to some extent inclusion, but the issue is not new. In fact, there is an abundant history of a vested interest in exclusion. So then, it's the thoughts and the creations of an exclusive few that have shaped our collective reality, and that's a problem. Oftentimes, empathy gets an altruistic slant. It's kind, perhaps even ethical to be empathetic, but I don't think it's required. To have the mental capacity to holistically acknowledge another person's existence doesn't require altruism. This is a mental framework that's larger than who you are as a designer. If you legitimately acknowledge another person's existence, then it should organically follow that your designs take into consideration the nuances of their existence and are therefore empathetic. If life is to be measured by the perspectives that we hold, art, design, and empathy help us to fulfill complete lives. I will leave you with another poem I wrote. Genius returns to simplicity, no more complex than empathy. What do you see when you look at a tree? Collective consciousness, flawless geometry, perfect harmony, embodiments of you and me. Wisdom formed over weathered storms, nurtured thorns that safeguard its true form. Dancing with the breeze, slow motion, Tai Chi, a universe of possibility for us to see.